Hi, it's Miles with Songbird in New York City, the Michelle Bird song. I'm going to speak to you about a poem called The White Man's Burden. You're looking at pictures of Elvis Presley and James Brown. Elvis Presley is now Michael Bublé. The sign says Live Free. This is the American flag at this World Series Game 4. This is President Donald Trump at Liberty University, looking exasperated. He has provided more jobs to black people and Hispanic people than any other administration, yet he does not poll favorably for them, some of them. Some of them, Elijah Cummings' district, said they're glad he spoke up that Baltimore in Cummings' district is a shithole. Maybe they can get some relief now, because they don't know what Cummings is doing with all that money the government is giving him. This is Sam Cooke, who is now Michael Bublé. He had a song, A Change Is Gonna Come. This is Ray Charles, who is now Michael Bublé, and he liked the song America the Beautiful. Okay, the poem says, The White Man's Burden, Kipling's Hymn to U.S. Imperialism. In February 1899, British novelist and poet Rudyard Kipling wrote a poem entitled The White Man's Burden. The United States and the Philippine Islands. That was the full name of the poem. In this poem, Kipling urged the U.S. to take up the burden of empire, as had Britain and other European nations. Published in the February 1899 issue of McClure's magazine. The poem coincided with the beginning of the Philippines-American War and U.S. Senate ratification of the treaty that placed Puerto Rico, Guam, Cuba, and the Philippines under American control. Theodore Roosevelt, soon to become vice president and then president, copied the poem and sent it to his friend Senator Henry Cabot Lodge, commenting that it was rather poor poetry, which I disagree. I think it's excellent poetry, but good sense from the expansion point of view. Not everyone was favorably impressed as Roosevelt. The radicalized notion of the white man's burden became a euphemism for imperialism, and many anti-imperialists couched their opposition in reaction to the phrase, take up the white man's burden. Send forth the best ye breed. Go send your sons to exile, to serve your captives' need, to wait in heavy harness, unflettered folk and wild, your new-caught sullen peoples, half devil and half child. Take up the white man's burden, impatience to abide. And here I stop to decode the word patience. P for present, AT for at, TIE for tie, I for pleasure, I for I for I, E for energy, N for in, and North Carolina for NC, enmity. which is open hostility. Impatience to abide, to veil the threat of terror, and check the show of pride. Pride decoded. PR for Puerto Rico, ID for identity, E for enmity. Pride, Puerto Rican identity, enmity. Okay, their identity is they are filled with enmity, with open hostility, as they take those welfare checks. By open speech and simple, and 100 times made plain, to seek another's profit and work another's gain. Take up the white man's burden, U.S., and reap his old reward, the blame of those ye better, the hate of those ye guard. The cry of hosts ye humor, ah, slowly to the light. Why brought ye us from bondage, our loved Egyptian night? Our loved Egyptian night? Take up the white man's burden, have done with childish days, the lightly proffered laurel, the easy ungrudged praise. Proffered, Puerto Rico for PR, off OFF, energy for E, her for R, rocker. Puerto Rico, off energy, her rocker. Okay. The easy ungrudged phrase comes now to search your manhood through all the thankless years, cold-edged with dear-bought wisdom, the judgment of your peers. So that's the end of the poem. The source is Rudyard Kipling, The White Man's Burden, the United States and Philippine Islands. I think it's published by Doubleday in 1929. That's why the founder said, in order to understand and thereby appreciate the U.S. Constitution, you need an educated and religious population. Right now we have an uneducated, irreligious population. Part of it, anyway. And Socrates, the father of Western civilization, Eve, said, know thyself. If you are not educated about yourself, you cannot understand yourself. A person cannot love what he or she does not understand. To have a population of people who do not love themselves is to have a group of people confused and poor in spirit. Michael John Spear calls them the arrogant poor. To have no God is to have not heart, like an animal ever waiting to attack, never to love you, no matter how much you provide their lack. Okay, those were my words. So that's the end of this video. I hope it makes you think and be grateful. Gratitude is the highest frequency. If you are great, and Tony Robbins, who is very rich and very productive citizen, said, gratitude is the secret to wealth. So if you're poor, know that you're an ingrate and change. So long.